Hello, beautiful people. This is your host, Lindsay Renee Benton, and I'm so excited to share with you our guest for today's episode, Shola K. Roberts. From the island of Grenada, raised in Brooklyn, New York, and of course, she was one of my classmates at the Howard University Dance Major Program, which is where we met. She is now an assistant professor of dance at Arizona State University, the founder of Dance Grenada, as well as the founder of Soul Rhythms Festival. Please enjoy this episode as we discuss all the amazing things that she's doing. So I'm really excited today. I'm here with my sister, the Shola K. Roberts.
Yes, and I'm here with my sister too.
Yes. So, one, we've been doing this dance thing together for.
Okay, let's not get the numbers.
Okay, all right, we won't get into numbers, but decades are involved. Okay. One of the things that I think has been really amazing to watch is how you've been able to utilize aspects of your culture to not only reinforce how you see dance, but how you share dance, how you research dance, and how you use that to cultivate and inspire other people. And just recently, Dance Grenada, my first Dance Grenada, y'all. First of all, the island of Grenada, just all the love.
Top tier, okay? Talk to your travel agents now. Okay, that's it. Sorry.
And going into now what is Grenada celebrating how many years of independence?
50 years.
50 years of independence, and also now you celebrating
5 years of
Dance Grenada.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the many amazing things about being able to experience it was that I was able to see all the aspects of and the beauty of what you've been able to share with me and our other friends and colleagues in a very tangible way in Grenada during Dance Grenada. So if you would tell us just a little bit about how that started.
How did that start? You know, it's funny. I actually thought the idea came in 2019 or maybe even in 2020. And our near and dear sister Carrie Ann had to remind me, like, no, Shola, you've been talking about this since you touched or set your foot on the floor or ground of Howard University.
Yeah.
This has been one of your purposes, your missions as it relates to, you know, just educating folks that you come into contact with as it relates to Grenada. And so that's probably where the idea came from. It was me thinking about how can I create this space for practitioners and younger dance artists on the island of Grenada to experience the same thing that I have been blessed to experience, you know, having attended Howard University and seeing the array of diverse dance forms within the dance community, within the Black dance community. I think it was extremely powerful and pivoting for me as a young artist. And I felt like, okay, well, if I am able to feel this way with such exposure and access, how can I do that for those who may not have the exposure and access?
And that point alone is one of the reasons why I think both of us encourage young dancers to go somewhere else besides home, to be able to grow your knowledge, to be able to study, to be able to experience other kinds of dance. Just like, you know, if you only go and take class or are around the people that are in your zip code, that is the frame of reference that you have of people who look like you. It's the same people that you're walking around with. But when you get to go like to a place like Howard and you get to experience there's different kinds of Black people, and then that means that there's different kinds of dance being done. And so the way that I'm learning ballet and the way that you're learning ballet is very specific to what our experience is. And so the way that you're learning how to embrace your culture through dance and the way I'm learning it is literally very specific to how we've grown up. And so you being able to translate that type of experience into your own personal mission, girl, it is
I mean,
everything.
I mean, when you put it like that, I guess, wow, it does sound amazing. No, seriously, and you know, it's work. You know, this is no easy task. This is no easy feat. You know, I say this all the time. You know, people watch what you're doing and watch what rewards may come, but folks do not see the work, the dark side, and let me not even say dark side, but those challenging moments that really test your existence and have you questioning how can you hold steadfast to the mission or to the cause or to the purpose. And so I really want to reinforce that it's not an easy task, but when the creators and the spirits are with you and it's become a calling, then you have no choice but to answer to.
Yeah, because otherwise you get knocked around because you're not on alignment.
Right.
And so one of the things that has also been amazing to see, you know, inside your journey is that you have not only decided, but you strategized a way to represent your culture and share it, but also make sure that in the sharing of it, those who come from that same tradition realize there's value in studying it, there's value in the performance of it, there's value in creating access and professionalism in a way that other people can experience and not just see as, you know, this is primitive movement or this is ritualistic, but also this is something that is a viable career.
And that can sustain you. You know, this past weekend, we had the Soul Rhythms Festival, and one of the questions that was raised by one of my students was, what was your relationship like within your community or your culture as it relates to you pursuing dance as a career? And I had, you know, moment of transparency. It was not easy as well. In the Caribbean, folks do not look at the arts, specifically dance, as a viable career. I mean, there's an attempt to make that shift, and I am definitely on board in terms of...
You're a part of that shift.
Yeah. pushing that thought. But even within my own family structure, if it was not for my mother, if it was not for her commitment to nourishing her children and making sure that she saw them in the best light possible, you know, there were folks that really challenged me in terms of pursuing this as a career. And because of my ability to overcome those challenges, I feel like there are a number of artists back home that are experiencing the same thing. And so how can I use my journey as a testament or as an example for them to be able to stand 10 toes down, stand on business, and let folks know, like, no, this is what I am committed to doing. As long as I put in the work, you know, I can be just as successful and I can sustain my own livelihood.
Yes, and I think one of the things, you know, we all get this question is, you know, like, how do you make a living? Well, I know for sure, you know, just because I know that you have done and been in every type of room that exists as it relates to dance.
Oh, you give me so much credit.
It's true,
right? Yes, I love her.
And so even when it comes to even during COVID, you were part of a Bessie Award winning production.
Oh my goodness, but yeah, I was. When people tell you things, it's like, oh yeah, I did do that.
Yes. And so realizing that, you know, the access, the platform, what was that like in terms of that experience? Because, you know, during COVID, we were trying to figure out, how to move people. I don't even know how many millions probably of
Mhm.
videos that are online of people dancing in their kitchen
Mhm.
or in their living room, and all the
Mhm.
sorry for the furniture, but it had to get out the way so that people could move.
Mhm.
And yet this project that you were a part of,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So that piece was entitled Still Standing, and it was a play on the deity Ogun, who is the god of iron, and the fact that we were in this manufactured setting located in Brooklyn, New York, and it was choreographed by Fritzl Hector. And I have done a number of pieces, and been a part of her production. And at the time, I think everybody wanted to sustain the art form.
Yeah.
We knew that we needed to find a different way. That's how the Even Dance Grenada emerged. The first year we were
on
Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second year we did a hybrid model because folks were still iffy about still being in spaces with each other. But because it was something that fed us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, we needed to be in these spaces with each other.
Yes.
So me committing to that project was part of that. It was like, I needed to be a part of this project. And knowing that Dance Africa has been a staple inside of our dance community. I won't even say Black dance community. It's been a staple within our dance community. The importance of having this visual representation of Afro-Caribbean work and the honoring of Haitian folklore and Haitian dances within the festival was important as well, because that is one of the routes that I am taking as it relates to how I present content to my participants. This idea of the value and the importance of our Afro-Caribbean movement forms and how they continue to sustain us, how they continue to heal us, how they continue to enhance our physical capabilities. And so, it was a great process working with, some of the dancers like Imani and Zinga and Kenya, Joy Gibson, and simultaneously I am still pursuing my doctorate. So it was being able to, okay, I know I need this for my being, for my vessel, while also navigating these other entities of doing the scholarly and the research work,
Yeah.
So, it was me trying to find that balance and while still trying to pour into me.
Yeah, and that brings me to another question. How important is it for the theory and the practice of what you do to be executed and then also transcribed, transferred, taught, and passed down to the students that you work with?
I feel like one can't exist without the other. Right? We can't talk about the thing but not be able to do the thing, and we can't do the thing and not be able to talk about the thing, right? And so I feel like even within our communities, that's just how we translate this information to each other, right? Sometimes we may not necessarily have the academic words or the scholarly phrases or labels that academia has created for the work, but the work is being done. It continues to be done. And so I don't see one existing without the other. And that's how we continue to sustain authentic, genuine practice of work, especially in a time where social media is becoming more prevalent and we're seeing all these various dance forms on social media. How do we stay true without folks watering down or convoluting or just mixing everything up together as if this entity did not come from somewhere?
Lineage, history.
And so it's important to acknowledge all of those pieces. So what we see happening on social media doesn't continue to happen. I mean, we can't stop everything, but at least if we can touch 2, 3, 4, 5 and inform them that this is theory, this is practice, they can then take that information and then pass it on to their communities.
And a lot of the work that you're doing emphasizes and reiterates the fact that we can't just do all of this virtually. Like, we need the in-person experience. Like, going from attending Dance Grenada online to being there in person, there's nothing like it. And the ability to gather is a huge part of our learning experience.
But that's just our experience, people, period, as a people. We commune, we socialize. That's how,
That's how ideas come together.
Akosua referenced how there is a dance done for each event. There's purpose and function. And so there's purpose and function in us coming together. That is how we survive as a people, Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, as it relates to teaching young people, because you have taught every single grade level and all the way now through, higher education. And so with that being the case, you've seen a lot of different generations navigate trying to figure out, like, how do they fit into this dance space, and then also looking at how do they, if they want to, pursue it professionally. What are some of the things that you think are very important or most significant when students are trying to figure out what their pathway is?
Wow. I believe dismissing the idea that academic and what is being done in the community are two separate things. I think we have to start, especially in these academic settings, to start engaging the community and those that have the experience, those that have the lived experience, and incorporate them in these spaces so these learners have that experience and they have that knowledge base. I believe the reason why I was hired here at Arizona State University, or even my colleagues were hired, is because of their connection to the community and the spaces in which they practice their art form. And it's very important that we bring these individuals who may not necessarily be the professors, but into our spaces so our learners can see this is what it looks like in real time.
Yeah, and I think too, like, when it goes back to some of the questions that we've gotten as of recently about networking and building connections, and so being a part of a community that is your best connection. Being a part of a community, it means that you are being served by a community, but also in service to community. And in doing so, those who are parts of any type of organization, if you're a member, if you're a contributing member, you get to benefit from all of the bounty that exists inside that organization. And it's no different when it comes to dance communities and communities that are based in, culture that has historical context and it has these traditions that even as they've progressed over time or they've evolved, they still go back to some elements that are part of the roots of that foundation.
And so understanding that you are in service to is a big concept in my mind's eye. Oftentimes people always want to take, or they want to bring some type of awareness to what they're doing versus coming into the space and seeing what you can offer, or what do you understand? Versus, oh, I want to teach. Can I teach at your festival? I want to do this. Can I perform? How about you come into the space, see what the space needs, see how you can be aligned with what's already happening, before you want to inflict or project your own agenda in the larger picture. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's a level of awareness as well as a level of intentional perception. So like being intentional about how you engage inside a space that you're not familiar with. And I think that a lot of times, especially when you see, a lot of African diasporic culture is very welcoming. And so some of that is taken for granted to mean that everyone should have access or everyone gets to indulge and enjoy all of the bounty that the community has to offer. And a lot of times the community itself and the people that serve inside that community, they're left without being replenished.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of reciprocity, not just inside, going to a dance festival or a dance conference or performance, but also inside the research that's done,
Mm-hmm.
inside the learning that's done. So those things have to be reciprocal, because otherwise, you take from culture and then what is left?
And so hence, I'm sure gatekeeping comes up a lot inside of our community, right? And it's a fine line between gatekeeping or sharing this information to individuals that genuinely want to learn. And I'm still going back and forth about this term gatekeeping, because I also feel like some things should be gate kept.
I mean, and if we think about the actual, word gate, like there's things that when you have a gate or a fence are kept in, and then there's things that are kept out. And if you don't have some type of protection, some type of boundary, it makes it nearly impossible to be able to sustain what is there and also decipher what needs to be out. And so I think that, they've become trigger words. They become these trendy thoughts of, gatekeeping is bad, but it's also like how is it that there's groups of people that have been able to sustain over time, and their culture, the traditions of it have been able to be maintained, and the people who are passing it on also maintain and they have strength. There had to be some type of gate that people were either kept in or kept out of. And I think the determining who's the authority at the gate is a thing that's necessary, and which is why communing and building community and strengthening community is so necessary.
It's so necessary and important. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So with another reason why I really am glad and excited to see more of your research and how it manifests into not just the spaces that you teach and the soon to be Dr. Shola K. Roberts, but also just in terms of your mission as an educator, as a performer, as a researcher, and as a choreographer, because those are some of the elements that I can see very clearly and consistently, y'all, okay?
Oh, she's so
And I mean, I can go on and on about how the work that you're doing is so edifying, because not just because I know where you started from, but I also am aware of the pieces of your journey that contributed to you being able to have this platform, establish this platform, and then also, being an entrepreneur in the field of dance. It's not for the weak.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Yeah, it's not for the weak. And I did reference that at the beginning, but I say this all the time: when you're called to do something, you just have to submit. Because you don't submit, that is when you reach strife, friction,
and struggle.
And it's there's struggle here too, but the rewards and the other sides are so much more gratifying and beautiful to watch. It's unexplainable. There are times I sit and you're like, I'm in awe at what I have been able to create, manifest, and then you find that there are people in your circle in alignment that are doing the same thing, and it's like, these people are amazing. What?
And Shola, you truly have been an inspiration. I think
gosh.
that's one of the many beautiful aspects of being able to be your sister and your friend and also colleague. And so, on that note, what are some of the most inspiring events, spaces, advice that you've received on your journey thus far?
Wow. Okay.
There's been so many.
Yeah. Would have been some of the most. I mean, I'm going to use these last two examples as my examples. So the Soul Rhythms Festival and Dance Grenada 2023. If anybody knows me, they know that I am extremely proud of where I come from. I hail from a beautiful island called Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. A small island, very rich in culture and traditions, and to be able to build community here in America, in New York, DC, and Arizona, and to be able to have people that I love dearly and who see my vision and understand my journey come and engage and be a part of this place that I love so much through the vehicle or through the entity that has really sustained who I am, and to see it through multiple generations. That has been the most inspiring and rewarding experience or thing from what I have done so far. To have multiple generations share, not necessarily from the same space, not necessarily from the same country, but be able to find connections through culture and practice, and to be able to become friends just off the strength of me creating this space for us to all commune. That is powerful. And then most recently, Soul Rhythms, I still think that I am a newbie within this Arizona State University community, but to still be able to bring those elements of who I am, whether it be from Grenada or from New York or from DC, and to create this space of intergenerational learning and communing, again, powerful. Through not only embodied practice, but through media, through dialogue, through socialization events. Wow.
I'm glad you're saying it. And I think it would only be fitting if we allowed our audience to see a representation of that. So pay attention to this next clip. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dance Grenada was established in February 2020 and is the fusion of two passions: utilizing the art of dance as collaborative, creative communication platform, and developing in-depth knowledge of Caribbean Grenadian culture.
I hope that you guys find that in each other, use that as your source of motivation, Use that as your fuel, your drive in moments when you feel like giving up.
But don't delay. Inspired to be great. Don't be afraid, no reason to be afraid. Inspired by your pain. You might fail, but try again, try again.
We had that joke every time we would be in Diane McIntyre's choreography and we dropped on the floor, we'd be like, all right, serious business.
Yes.
Serious.
I certainly hope that you've enjoyed this episode. It's always a joy when I get to share the space with one of my favorite people, which indeed, Shola is one of those very people. Until next time, please remember to subscribe and share these episodes. If you'd like to learn more about Dance for the Culture, visit dancefortheculture.com or follow us on social media with our Instagram, also at Dance for the Culture. Until next time.